Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am filming at a coffee shop because my apartment has so much noise going on right now. They're constantly flying the planes over us and there's a lot of construction outside, so I am filming here for today. Today's video is going to be about how I cured my chronic UTI and yeast infection. So please stay tuned throughout the whole video. I'm going to give you my #1 tip and supplement that I take that helps me to no longer get UTIs ever again. And we have my notes here, the love of my life over here, and then the second love of my life over here. Hi. And as you guys all know, if you've ever had a UTI before, it feels like fire coming out of your down there while you urinate, and it's not a pleasant feeling. So the reason for my frequent UTI and yeast infections was because I had Cushing's disease, I was on steroids, and I also was on a lot of antibiotics and other medications, and I was also pre-diabetic. I remember when it got really, really bad was when I was in the hospital to get the tumor removed, and I remember waking up and I couldn't urinate, and the reasoning why was because they inserted a really large catheter inside of my urethra, and my bladder was irritated, so I wasn't able to pee by myself for 3 days. I remember waking up from the surgery and being very uncomfortable because after like 3 hours, I wasn't able to, void myself. And I told the nurse, and she told me it was pretty common because people who wake up from general anesthesia, it takes time for them their bodies to like start working again. Unfortunately for me, after 6 hours, I still wasn't able to, and I was in a lot of discomfort and pain. And that's when I told the nurse, like, I think this is an issue. I just really can't do it for myself. And she basically just brushed me off. And she's probably one of the reasons why I still have an irritated, sensitive bladder today. So around 8 to 12 hours, that's when I said I had enough. I needed to talk to a doctor or somebody else, and that's when she brought in another nurse for a second opinion. So they did a bladder scan, and they realized that, yes, I was retaining so much fluid in there, and I couldn't go. And that's when she suggested that I do a straight cath. A straight cath is basically they insert a catheter, like a straw, inside of your urethra, in a little hole, and it will drain you of the fluids that you are holding in. To make matters worse, they couldn't find my urethra hole, and so it took like 3 nurses to all try and poke and prod me down there while it was already irritated and caused more trauma in that area. And finally, when they did find it, I released about 2 gallons of fluid. So you guys can imagine how traumatic that was, and they had to do it for the next 3 days because I wasn't able to do it for myself, and I wasn't able to get released from the hospital. So after that really traumatic experience at the hospital, I realized that my UTI and my yeast was chronic, and it became a regular thing I had to live with. I was constantly in a cycle of taking antibiotics and then getting it again, and then trying to, cut out sugar, cut out alcohol. And then once I thought I was good, I indulged a little bit and realized that that was not a good idea, and it was just like an endless cycle. So I will share with you guys a lot of things that did help me. It was a complete lifestyle change, but what really, really helped me, if you stay tuned, I will tell you. At my worst, I couldn't have a bite of chocolate. I couldn't have any kind of sweet at all. I couldn't have like a bite of ice cream or anything, and I could not have any alcohol, and I couldn't have any sodas. And it was really agonizing at first for me because I felt deprived. Like, even though I went through Cushing's disease, I now have this like lingering other problem from the surgery, and it's only getting worse. And during that time I was still on steroids, and so I felt kind of helpless. All the doctors could do for me was give me antibiotics and tell me to take cranberry juice. I just remembered one day having enough, and I snapped, and I told myself something has to change. And that's when I really took a look at my diet, and I completely cut out sugar, and I completely stopped eating carbs, and I completely stopped drinking alcohol. And then after 2 weeks, I realized that my body was doing really good, right? And so I just continued on with it for a while. I also cut out soda and I started drinking sparkling water and more teas. All of this information, like, it's basically recycled from my other videos because it really does take a lifestyle change for you to see a difference in your body and what it does for you. And as I mentioned, I started following the medical medium. Like, I followed him on Instagram, I followed him on YouTube, and I bought his book, The Liver Rescue. He told all of his patients that one of the best things that you can do is start taking celery juice every morning. So I started juicing celery every morning. I did vegetable juice. I stopped drinking like fruit juice, and then I started taking more probiotics and prebiotics. And then another really good thing that I did was start taking parsley and artichoke tea. The next thing I want to recommend is, like, probably what your parents told you. Wear breathable clothing, don't wear tight underwear, fabrics that are breathable. And for women, try to avoid wearing thongs. And for women to, like, try to use pads during your menstrual cycle instead of tampons. As your doctors tell you, make sure that you go before you have intercourse and after. Also, I like to wash myself with like a natural cleanser for down there, like a feminine cleanser, and it's called Honey Pot. I can link it down below. I really like that one because it's free of anything that can irritate, and there's no chemicals in it. It's all natural, and it keeps me pretty clean. Yeah, another thing that's so important that you learn as a child, but you still do it today as an adult because you're busy and it's holding it in, and it's so bad for you. So if you have to go, please don't hold it in. Just do it. And if you're not around a public toilet, I actually bought some of these like pee cones for women. They're like these cones that you can stand up while peeing, right? It's so unfair that we have to do that. We need all these like gadgets and things, and the men just can do it anywhere, right? The world is their toilet, but for us, not really. But that doesn't stop me from, if I need to go, then I will use one of those. It's helped me several times when I went hiking, traveling, all that. So I really highly recommend it. Now for the yeast, I got to the point where I had like total body candida. It just like was all over. I had a white tongue, I had rashes, I had oily scalp, and like it was basically a fungus that just took all over my body because of the medication I was taking and how my gut was unbalanced. So yes, the diet really helped, the lifestyle change did help, but for me, I found that if you start taking garlic pills or taking a yeast defense supplement, that truly does help too. So I highly recommend that you do look into like a yeast defense supplement or garlic pills, because that will kill off like any kind of bad fungus in your stomach and even bacteria too. And I believe that if you have like body odor, if you take garlic, it will help like get rid of that too. So garlic for the win. Now my very, very important one, and this was a complete game changer for me, was that I started taking DMannose. This is the supplement. You can get DMannose anywhere. You can get it off Amazon or at your local health store. This one is called Urinary Harmony, and my lovely client gave this one to me because this is her favorite brand. I've taken other kinds of DMannose before, but I really do like this one. 0 fillers and artificial ingredients. So you just take 2 a day, and you will never ever have a UTI ever again. Now that I've gotten my problem under control, I don't really have to take this as often, but if I am like going on vacation and I know that my diet's not going to be that good, I will bring this along just in case. I actually even gave some to my mom, and she had like basically a 10-year battle with UTI. And she was constantly in the same cycle of taking antibiotics, and she never told me that she had this issue until there was a point where I was living with her, and I realized that she was constantly in pain and constantly taking antibiotics. And so I told her, throw your antibiotics away, start taking DMannose, and see what happens. At first, she wasn't consistent, so she didn't feel the full effects. She was like, yeah, it helps, but it doesn't feel like it's completely gone. So I told her, you have to take it every day for at least like a month. And then after that, you don't have to take it as often. And ever since she started doing that, she's been a true believer in DMannose too. The mechanism behind DMannose is that it is very like a substance that's very slippery. And so basically when you ingest it, it makes your bladder walls very slippery too, so that way bacteria and other things cannot stay on the wall, like it's flushed right out. If you haven't tried DMannose before, I really highly recommend it. It has been my gold standard, my savior in all things urinary health. I have honorable mentions too. I believe that if you take vitamin C, it also really helps keep your urinary tract happy. And a lot of people say take cranberry. For me, cranberry actually irritates my bladder because I'm already sensitive. Let me fix the camera. Yeah, so I was already traumatized and my bladder was already injured from the whole hospital accident, the catheter accident. So that's why when I take anything too acidic, it does aggravate my bladder. So for me, I don't do cranberry. But what I've learned is that cranberry has natural DMannose in it, and that's why it helps with flushing out the bacteria. So DMannose for the win. So that is all the information I have for today. If you guys like to share any more information about what other things that you have to recommend for UTIs and yeast infections, please leave it down in the comments below. I'm always in search for like natural remedies and things that truly work. So I would appreciate it if you have any secrets you'd like to share too. And as with every video, I do like to end it with a quote. Today's quote is, "Attention to the human body brings healing and regeneration. Through awareness of the body, we remember who we are." This quote resonates with me because I was constantly ignoring the symptoms and what my body was crying out for. And the symptoms continued showing until I started listening to my body and physically making a change so that I could no longer have that resistance in my body. I felt like my body was betraying me at one point, and it was because I was betraying it by not making healthy choices. So once I started to heal the outside and my physical health, I started to heal the inside too, my mind, my body, and spirit. So I truly believe that now I have the peace and freedom thanks to my lifestyle choices. And I really hope that you guys in similar situations can find some kind of solace in knowing that, like, I've been through the worst of the worst. My body has been ravaged and like been through the ringer. And there were times when I felt like I just would never be able to bounce back. But consistent, healthy choices and choosing peace and happiness, I was able to get out of that, physically and mentally. And I just want to be able to share that with you guys too. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys like always. Please comment if this has helped you in any way. I'd love to know your journey. I'm always here to respond back and answer any questions. And please subscribe and share this video if you think that someone else needs it too. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.